welcome to another episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news, folks. It's our job to give you some of the most interesting tidbits in the world of sports, entertainment, odd news, and whatever else we happen to stumble across. Isn't that right, Mike?
That's right. We bring it to you with our unique sense of humor and wackiness. You never know what you're going to get here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
That's right. We have a couple of topics prepared for you to update you on some of the week's events. But before we get into the news at hand, we like to do a little personal bit that let you know what we've been up to. Mikey, what are you up to? What's happening in Costanzo country?
I'm trying to remember.
No. Did you get drunk on St. Patty's Day? Because that was the thing, I think.
Yeah, that's what we
did. It was
did.
St. Patrick's Day weekend this past weekend.
No, we celebrated my mom's birthday.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, I know that I went out and did something, but I can't remember what. No, we celebrated my mom's birthday. We went to
there you go. Happy birthday, Mrs. Costanzo.
Yeah, happy birthday to my mom. We went to Amada in Radnor. So they opened an Amada restaurant in Radnor. If anybody's familiar with the restaurant, the tapas restaurant in Center City or Atlantic City, there's one closer now for the Burbs.
There you go.
It actually just opened up this past weekend. So yeah, we went and checked that out because my parents have never experienced like tapas style restaurants before.
You took me there for my bachelor party but the one in AC.
The one in AC. Oh yeah, we went all out for that one. Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, and but it's like a different way of like it's tough to wrap your mind around it if you've never been there. Where you just constantly order a whole bunch of little small things. My dad's like, I don't get my own meal. And I'm like, no, everything is like kind of shared. You just order like four or five plates each, and then everybody just kind of like he couldn't like wrap his mind around. He's like, what do you mean? I can't just get like a piece of chicken? And I'm like, no, like.
And I've been waiting all week to have a hot dog and a hamburger.
That would be your dad.
That would be
Where's
him,
my hot dog and hamburger?
He like wants to have like his entree with the sides and like his own little meal.
And I've been waiting all week to have a hot dog and a hamburger.
That's what he says to the waiter.
Yes, that's almost verbatim what he said. No, it was a good time though. It was a good time. If anybody out there hasn't tried out Amada, definitely go check it out. There's now a third location in the Burbs out here on the main line instead of going all the way to Center City or AC.
Yeah, but they've realized where the money's at.
Yeah, it's the main line, not AC anymore. But the one in AC is fantastic.
Yeah, it was. It was a good experience.
That's my personal favorite location because it's the biggest. I think it's the biggest one, and they have the swankiest like looking kitchen and dining room. But go check it out. So that's what we were doing. What did you get up to this weekend?
Yeah, it was St. Patrick's Day weekend,
of course.
And Rachel being Irish, so it was big weekend where everyone was Irish. I should have brought the shirt, or I should have took a photo of it. I had a shirt that Rachel got me that said "Italian."
Oh, nice!
So I could still represent
Italian.
Still represent the Italian side.
Hey, you got to, man. You got to.
So that was my way to stick it to everybody.
The most.
Take that.
I really love that. That's really good. The most Irish thing I did was I had, and I know it's not even Irish, but I had the little Irish potatoes.
Yeah, they're not Irish.
No, they're not
Irish.
Sorry,
Mike.
But I also had, and I apologize to all the people of Irish heritage listening. I bought soda bread from ShopRite.
Was it good?
I thought it was good.
I mean, as long as it's good.
Right. Like, my girlfriend's sister-in-law makes much better homemade soda bread. But the one from ShopRite, I mean, it got the job done.
As long as it's, my rule is as long as it tastes good.
Right. I liked it.
You know.
I'm still eating them. Still making my way through the loaf.
All right.
It's good stuff.
As long as it tastes good and you're happy with it, I think you're fine.
Did you get some soda bread and Irish potatoes,
so
which aren't Irish?
No, but Rachel found now I did not do my prep work for the show. There's a place out in Royersford that makes like sausage with like pastry around it.
Ooh,
and it was so good. I don't know where
that I can get behind.
What is that up? I'm sorry.
Sausage with pastry, like
it was
like what? Like
it's like a sausage roll,
like a cocktail weenie, but
no,
full sized.
It was like a tasty sausage.
Okay,
and then wrapped around like a sweet pastry roll. It was so good.
Is that a traditional Irish dish?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
know. Maybe
Was-
it does sound like a sausage, like pot pie or like meat pie. So maybe it is. I don't know.
Like those like UK countries like love
They always
sticking
love-
meat in pastry.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that flows in that family chart.
Yes.
So
If
it's got to be somewhat Irish. I don't know.
I love this like family tree of meats stuffed into breads that you're making in your head.
There are a lot.
Yeah,
Chicken
no.
pot pie, shepherd's
Yep,
pie,
yep, yep.
and then this creation, it was like a sausage wrapped around a sweet pastry.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not Irish. I'm sorry. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have
So-
complete ignorance on this one.
Yeah, but it was good, and it was from a bakery out in Royersford. Now I forget the name of it.
And it sounds delicious.
I did
Whatever it is, this mystery food.
Not, I did
This
not.
unnamed mystery
I
food.
did not do my homework here for the crispy noodle food portion of the show. I was ready to dive into sports, entertainment, and
With
news.
as important as sausages
I
are to the
know.
show,
I know.
how could
How
you
did-
not know?
No sausages. No sausages. No sausages. Sausages.
You get no sausage.
I
Shut
got no
up.
sausage. Yeah, sorry. I'll regroup next week.
So I looked up sausage wrapped in pastry, and one of the top results is Irish sausages in puff pastry.
So
There's
there you go. It is
there's a
Irish.
recipe.
So it is Irish.
Is it just sausage rolls?
No, because
That,
not.
I mean, that's what it's called in Google.
in Google.
It's just
in the
sausage
world of
rolls.
Google.
I don't know. Somebody needs to. We need to. People
I'll-
reply in to the show. And,
I'll find a more definitive answer from Rachel.
Yeah.
And she found the bakery, and it was really good.
she's gonna be like, "How could you forget, Rich? She's gonna kill
Sorry.
you."
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I just ate. That's all I did. I just
Like, it's just food. It tasted good. It was a blur.
yeah.
I was like, hey, babe, I'm going to leave my don't trouble, and then I'm going to make us band.
Yeah, that's that. That's
What was
I-
that?
That was that was John Sage from Love Killed Kurt when he tried to put all those peeps in his mouth when he was on the show,
Oh my god!
and I had that saved on the soundboard.
I was like, hey, babe, I'm going to leave my don't trouble, and then I'm going to make us band.
So there you go. That was me trying to talk with sausage in my mouth as well.
yeah.
All right, now with all that
Anyway.
craziness, yeah, we need to get to the news at hand. We're going to do the first batch of topics and condense them in the world of sports in the sports sampler.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports. In your face. Ha ha!
Sports coming at you in your face here
That's
in this
right.
first segment, and I know you want to talk Eagles. So
Yeah, I mean, you could be forgiven for forgetting the name of the sausages with all the free agency news that's been
yes,
happening
there's been
recently.
a lot. Yeah.
It never fails. We record a podcast. The very next day, something crazy happens,
Yep.
and that's basically essentially what happened. We talked about we may continue to lose players. And
Well, I know you want to get to the Eagles, but how about first off the national news, where we recorded the podcast Tuesday night. I rushed the episode to get out Wednesday at noon, and then Aaron Rodgers goes on Pat McAfee
yep,
and just destroys our main topic last week.
yeah, oh yeah, I
So-
completely forgot. Yeah, but you know what? Nothing has happened. yet.
No, but he has officially announced that he wants to join the New York Jets, and the Packers
Yeah.
are moving on from him.
It's not in the rundown, but let's just take a brief
Just
side
a quick
side tangent.
beat,
So
beat here.
Rodgers is going to the Jets. It's really a matter
it's probably
of
going to happen. Yeah.
right. It's a matter of finding the right compensation for the Packers. The
Yeah.
Packers obviously they're going to want multiple firsts. It's their
Are they going to get it? I don't think so.
and that's the big sticking point I think, and why we haven't seen a deal
Yep.
is because the Packers are like, we want multiple firsts for one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, and the Jets are like, are you kidding me? He's going to turn 40. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to play for you, and you have the massive, what is it, $40-50 million cap hit.
Yeah.
The Jets are like, play ball. We're going to give you a second and a third, maybe.
I know. To me, I feel like the Jets have most of the power because the Packers are the ones stuck with him.
right. The
If-
Packers
if
either
this-
have to swallow that contract and have an unhappy quarterback the entire season, or ship him out for less.
Yeah. If this deal goes south, the Packers are the one that gets screwed. I mean, the
Yeah.
Jets, to a degree, they got to run Zach Wilson again,
Right.
but that's recoverable. You
Right.
can still field the season, and just roll the dice and good luck.
Yeah. I mean, they almost made it this past year, so,
Or maybe go to Joe Flacco. I don't know, but roll the dice, whatever. But the Packers are the one. If they get
They're screwed.
if Aaron Rodgers comes back, like what do you do? Like Jordan Love is stuck.
I mean, that's awkward. Yeah, because then you gotta. God, I don't
do you
even know.
bench Aaron Rodgers? Like you're
Yes.
paying him $50 million a year to ride the bench?
If this drags out much longer, because I have a feeling these teams are going to want to get this done
It's
before
going to
the
be
draft.
the Packers have to be the one to blink.
Yeah.
If I was the Jets, just don't do anything. Yeah, go ahead.
They have to want to get it done before the draft because this is going to impact how these two teams draft.
Yeah.
Do you draft thinking Rodgers is going to be quarterback or not? Like, do the Jets try to trade up for a quarterback? What do the Packers do? Do they try and find somebody who can help Rodgers, or do you look more towards the future with Jordan Love when you're building your team now?
Well, I mean,
It's like
the deal's going to happen. It's just a matter of just who's going to blink.
I think it's the
I think it's
Packers.
got to be the Packers because the Jets can just sit. Go ahead. Have
because the
fun.
Jets know that if they don't move, that Rodgers is going to get cut.
They outright cut him?
I think that
I don't know.
how
I don't
can
think that.
how can the Packers sit there with Rodgers for another year? He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
play. And then Jordan Love is going to get pissed, and then he's going to want. Is Jordan Love going to re-sign if Rodgers plays another year?
Well, I
Like
would,
if Rodgers plays and Jordan Love has to sit again, and you're Jordan Love.
well, that's not gonna happen. They'll tell Aaron Rodgers to go home or something, and then they'll accept the least possible option that they can get, because then at that point they've sunk their trade value. But
so you think they just hold on to him?
no,
I'm saying they cut him if the Jets don't. If the Jets can't
well,
work out a deal.
I don't think it's going to get to that point. I think just by necessity the Packers are going to have to trade him. So I think the Jets are the one doing the smart thing actually. Like go ahead, take as long as you want, have fun. But at the end of the day, you're trading him.
Well, yeah. I mean the Packers have to.
Yeah,
They have to. They can't risk a situation where they have to cut him.
right.
I just think I feel like they got to take the faster they act, the better for them.
Yeah.
Because the closer it gets to the draft, the value is going to keep dropping and
Right.
dropping. So like I don't understand what the holdout is for.
That's what another thing. Yeah, go ahead. Jets should do that every week. Guess what? That's going to be a 3rd round pick now.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a 4th round pick. You guys are taking too long on this.
Right. I just wonder if the Packers front office is going to be so stubborn that they will try to just, I don't know, hold out for more.
No.
But then it just seems like a bad situation.
Yeah.
And by us talking about this, we have solidified the fact that Rodgers will get traded on Thursday.
Yes. Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday, he's going to get traded.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to actual things that have happened in reality and not in Aaron Rodgers' imaginary world where he's the only football player.
Yeah.
The Eagles brought back a few of their own free agents. So we re-signed longtime defensive tackle, 6-time Pro Bowler Fletcher Cox to a 1-year, $10 million deal. I was a little surprised. This was mostly a move of necessity after losing Javon Hargrave.
Yeah.
You can't lose somebody like that and not have a backup. And Fletcher Cox is at this point the plan B because he had a little bit of a bounce back year this past year, but he's pretty washed now. Working on name recognition alone.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say wash, but he's not
He's not dominant
leader
by
Yeah.
any stretch.
He's a good change of rotation when you
Yeah.
need to throw people in.
He is now strictly a rotational guy
Yes.
instead of like the full-time anchor on
Right.
that line.
Right.
Which is a big shift in philosophy from where he was at his prime. Somebody else who may or may not be past their prime, we bring back cornerback Darius Slay returning on a 2-year, $42 million deal. This was a shocker.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that he was gone, and we talked about how he was probably gone. And he's back now. We're going to get to why he's back
Yeah.
in just a little bit.
Yep.
But Slay said after the deal, quote, I love this. He says, quote, I plan on retiring as an Eagle. I'm not going to lie. When my time is up, my time will be up from here, end quote.
All right. There you go.
You love
That's
to see
nice.
that kind of, this is the best team he's ever been on. Well,
Yep.
so why not?
Yeah. And he's getting paid now $42 million. So yeah, that helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps him want to retire here. But so those are the returning free agents. We also picked up a couple of key depth pieces on defense. We signed linebacker Nicholas Morrow from the Bears. The word on him, he's decent he's a decent tackler, but not really extraordinary. 116 tackles, played in all 17 games. So he's making a lot of moves there in the middle of the field behind that bad Bears defensive line, and I guess the Eagles are hoping he can do better with that stout Eagles defensive line, soaking up a lot of the attention. So maybe he can get in a little bit more action there instead of just being kind of like an average Joe tackler. We also signed another depth piece, cornerback Greedy Williams from the Browns. He's been sidelined with injuries, but he does bring some experience. He's been in the league a few years. Seems like a solid, nickel dime type situation there.
Yeah, Greedy needs to have a show with Gritty.
Yeah, Greedy and Gritty, the Greedy and Gritty show. I love it.
Yeah. Like if I was in charge of like the Fanatic or something, that's what I would do. Let's hire these two guys, put them in. Oh wait, no, Gritty doesn't talk. All right, no, never mind. That's
He could just stand there.
so just all right.
he
So a
could
TV
just-
show it has to be a TV show. It has to be visual.
Yeah, he could just stand there, just kind of like jiggle his belly and his weird Google eyes.
Yeah. So no, Gritty doesn't talk. So it has to be a TV. It has to be visual. Never mind. Sorry, it has to be a TV show.
They could do a video podcast, like we do.
Yeah, but it can't be a radio show.
No, it can't be radio.
Gritty doesn't talk.
Has to be video.
Yep.
It could just be Greedy talking and then silence on the other end. Anyway, moving on to other depth pieces, we also signed safety Justin Evans from the Saints. He's been sidelined most of his career. He missed like 2 full seasons, I think. But from what I understand, he's viewed as having a lot of upside when he can play. He was drafted pretty high. There were high hopes for him, but just injury after injury kept him sidelined. He finally worked his way back into football this past season. So we're hoping that he can provide some either depth there or maybe even step up into a potential starting role at safety, because what we really got to get to is why we're making all these depth signings and why cornerback Darius Slay is back, because the Eagles also lost a few free agents. The biggest one, of course, is safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, that was this one hurt to see him get signed by another team.
Yeah, it hurt, and it was ugly too. C.J. Gardner-Johnson signing a 1-year, $8 million prove-it deal with the Detroit Lions.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Yeah, this was left your head scratching. You're like, really? Howie couldn't figure out a way to land Gardner Johnson on $8 million a year?
Yeah, when the contract details came out, I'm like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
In terms
we
of
couldn't find $8 million somewhere for him?
So here's what happens. There was a lot of reports. There's still a lot of reports and rumors and hearsay. And there's really nobody who knows the exact situation other than Gardner Johnson, Howie, and the two teams. But what people have put together is that the Eagles reached out early in free agency with what is reported to be a multi-year deal worth about $12 million a year. That seems like pretty reasonable safety money in today's safety market, right? C.J. Gardner-Johnson thought that he would get more elsewhere, and so he wanted to test the market. That's fine, whatever. In the meantime, the Eagles moved on to signing other people.
Yep.
Namely, James Bradbury and Darius Slay, the other two big free agent defensive backs. Howie thinking if we're going to lose Gardner Johnson potentially,
yeah, you got to have a backup plan.
You got to have a backup. So we signed all the other guys, Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham. Made 5, 6, 7 signings. By the time that C.J. Gardner Johnson comes back and he's like, hey, the market wasn't responding the way that he wanted it to. He came back to the Eagles. The Eagles basically go, the money's been spent.
Yep.
We can give you a shorter deal or less money, but the initial deal is off the table because the Eagles also saw, there's no market there. So obviously the money's going to come down. So then what does C.J. Gardner Johnson do? Turns around, signs a 1-year deal, $8 million with the Detroit Lions. Feels disrespected. He said that on Twitter, disrespected, or the disrespect, whatever. Which also is weird because then his agent and him both go and kind of like try to publicly defend the contract. Did you see that?
Yeah. It's ugly.
It's a really bad look, right?
Yeah.
And the agent is kind of dumb. Turning down.
Yeah.
Like,
this agent isn't really doing the best work.
The agent's like,
he made a mistake.
Yeah, $17 million backloaded into the third year of the deal. That's just how Eagles contracts are created. That's cap hit. That's not cash flow. Like when we talk about these $42 million deals, it's structured in a way where it's mostly signing bonus. Like the salary is like $1 million and there's like a $9 million signing bonus,
Yeah.
right? So for the agent to say, oh, 17 million in the last year of the deal, we'd rather take 8 up front instead of, 1 million up front. I feel disingenuous. Like I feel like the Eagles would not have done that to Gardner
No.
Johnson.
No.
It's just very
It's-
messy.
This
ugly
is the kind of
situation.
thing that leads to Lamar Jackson denying, a $200 million contract from the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of logic.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate to see him go. I really wanted us to re-sign him. I was hoping that he would stay and be, a keystone of that defense because he's only 26.
Yeah.
He could have gotten another 5-6 years of solid safety play. But, best of luck in Detroit. I hope that $8 million turns into something bigger because this was supposed to be his prove-it year. Nobody wanted to pay him. So now he's doing a second prove-it year
he's
elsewhere.
hoping
I
that
don't
there's
know.
a second chance at a big deal. So I don't know.
I don't know. Sometimes you chase that big deal forever, but you never really find one. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. But it leaves us lacking at safety. Now, we signed Justin Evans, but what are the other options at safety? I saw some interesting suggestions out there. Obviously, draft. We have
Yeah.
the 10th pick and the 30th pick. I would love to go defensive back at 10, but there's no way in hell
The Eagles go that route.
that
yeah.
we draft anything other than a defensive tackle or defensive end. I would bet any amount of money we're going defensive line.
Yeah, that's usually the hallmark of the Eagles.
It's either a trade down or defensive line. There's no way in hell we're drafting it. I would love them to, but basically that's off the table. People have suggested move Avonte Maddox to safety. He's performed well there.
possible.
Could bring back old favorites. Rodney McLeod is out there, still very decent, highly graded on all those metrics. What's that website? Pro Football
Yeah.
Focus.
Yep.
Or Jalen Mills
Jalen Mills
is out there.
hey.
Jalen Mills, the Green Goblin. He
Yeah.
put out a tweet. He's like, "You guys know I actually play. That I was intended to play safety. I was never intended to be a cornerback."
Yeah, hey, there you go. Bring him in. We'll
So,
see.
I mean, there's options out there. They
Yep.
have to play for $300,000.
Yeah, the problem's going to be the cap space. The Eagles are right
Yeah.
now right at the cap. They're
If they buy
Bursting
pizza,
at the
if they buy
seams.
pizza for the team, they're done.
yeah.
Like they're at that level where it's like they're clipping coupons for players.
yeah. So the problem's going to be is it would have to be extremely cheap or it's going to have to come through the draft.
Yeah. There's a couple of other young guys out there that haven't been signed, but I don't see the Eagles making any more moves right now before the draft. Now, after the draft or during the draft, we might see some movement.
Yeah.
But unless they restructure somebody or cut somebody, there's just no wiggle room.
Yeah. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, which leads me to the other topic here for the Eagles, a lot more departures because part of, the cap situation is saying goodbye to lots of other players. And we have to say goodbye this week to guard Isaac Seumalo, signing a 3-year deal, $24 million deal with the Steelers. Wide receiver Zach Pascal, 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. And the sad one, but completely foreseeable, running back Miles Sanders signing a 4-year, $25 million deal with the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
I mean, we knew it was coming. Still kind of sad. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a decent back for us, but he's not. I never thought that he was like the every down back that he want.
In
that he
other
wanted to
words,
be. Oh, God.
he wasn't the guy.
No.
You are not the guy. You're not capable of being the guy. I had a guy, but now I don't. You are not the guy.
That does sound like the Eagles. They had a guy,
Yeah.
and now they don't.
They had a guy, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately too, running backs in this era, they're just a dime a dozen.
Especially this offseason,
You don't
the
need-
value is just not
I mean,
there.
look, Ezekiel Elliott got cut. Like this
Yeah.
is not
Has he been signed yet?
no.
Yikes.
This is not the era for running backs.
No.
It's a passing league.
Man, I'm telling you, Saquon Barkley, he's looking at that tag offer that he signed, and he's like,
That's it.
I'm doing all right.
That's probably it. That's probably your last
That's
hurrah.
your last big, but that's a big paycheck for him.
Yeah.
Consider what other running backs are getting.
Yep. So, unfortunately, that's the era that we're in.
Yeah, pass first and second and third. and usually fourth.
Yeah, why not? Screw it. What's a run game?
You sent me an interesting statistic that we didn't put in the rundown, but you mentioned that the last 5 or 6 Super Bowl winners.
The last 4 Super Bowl winners have all been 20th or worse in running attack.
So
20th or worse.
That's really 20th is not great.
Yeah. It's just it's not it's just a nice to have feature now as part of your offense. It's no longer the focal point.
I think that the ground game really makes a difference in the early rounds of the playoffs. Wild card, divisional round, when you're trying to kill clock, maintain possession, but when you get to the championship and the Super Bowl, you're usually playing really high octane offenses.
Yeah.
And it's a shootout.
Yeah.
It
So
happened in
unfortunately,
2017. It happened this past Super Bowl. You got to be able to shoot it out when you get to that stage.
yeah. So unfortunately, even though it's tough to see Miles Sanders go, it's kind of the byproduct of this era. It's all about the passing, baby.
Yep. And he'll be replaced by a second or third round draft pick, no doubt.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just run with Rashad Penny and Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell.
Well, Boston Scott definitely against the Giants.
Yes.
Get him out there on the field against the Giants.
The Eagles do it on purpose.
Yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I think something like 75% of his career touchdowns have come against the Giants.
Which is the highest against one opponent, I think, in NFL history.
And it's psychological with the Giants now, too. They know. They see that little guy line up. They're like, oh, man.
No, come on.
This is all over.
Yeah.
You know who else it's all over for, though, Rich? You like that one.
That was a good transition.
March Madness. There's some teams that
Yes.
are struggling a little bit.
Yes. Well, you don't struggle, unfortunately, in March Madness. You lose, you're out. This is sudden
Uh-oh.
death.
Oh, no. What happened here?
And for the second time ever in March Madness history, a number 1 seed fell to a number 16 seed in the first round of the playoffs.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
And that destroyed everyone's bracket. I don't know who actually would have the balls to put a 16 seed to knock off a 1 seed in the first round.
Probably me, because I'd be picking them randomly because I know nothing about college basketball.
Maybe.
But that is shocking.
Yes, it's very shocking. As a matter of fact, I didn't watch the game when it happened live, but I reviewed the footage, and oh my God, it was arguably one of the worst basketball performances I've ever seen. This Purdue team basically thought they were just going to stroll in, just grab a win and walk out.
Sometimes that ego.
And that's not how it works. You got to at least put in some effort.
You got to try. Yes, they're a 16 seed, but you got to show respect for your opponent, and you
Yep.
got to play honest.
Yep. And how do I really know this? Well, folks, in the last 7 minutes of this game, there was a portion of that 7 minutes from the last 7 minutes of the game. There was a consecutive period of 5 minutes and 40 seconds in which Purdue did not score a single point. That's kind of important in a basketball game, don't you think?
That's to not score any points in 5.5 minutes. When you see scores that are in the 70s and the 80s, you're scoring pretty regularly. If you get fouled, right?
Yes.
And you have to take free throws. How do you not score? I think it's almost impossible to go 5.5 minutes without scoring in basketball.
Well, Purdue found a way. They just chose not to try.
Controversial hot take. They didn't deserve to win.
Yep. And
They didn't deserve to be there, I guess.
Obviously, they didn't deserve to be a 1 seed.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you're
that's
gonna
embarrassing.
if you're gonna get shown up by a 16 seed because you can't score one single in a basketball game.
Yeah.
In a if you don't score in 5 minutes in football, that's pretty standard. That's not crazy. Or pretty much any sport. But basketball, you're scoring every 10 seconds basically.
Yeah, that's kind of important. You need to put points on the board. That's how you
how you
determine
win.
who wins.
The whole thing about winning.
Winning, how you move on into the tournament. You know how you want to get that championship.
That's how you do it.
Huh?
You got to put
Is that
points
how
on
it
the
works?
board.
Huh? Do you remember that?
Do you
Huh?
remember-
You want to move further? Huh?
They've never heard of that concept before in their lives.
I am so glad I didn't bet on that game. But it was crazy, to say the least. I mean, it's only the second time ever in March Madness history that a 1 seed fell in the first round.
That's crazy.
You know what though? That's why they call it March Madness.
It's not impossible.
No. But the Purdue Boilermakers, shame on you. That is embarrassing to fall to a 16 seed. But also, as you point out, that's not the only upset as well. The number 15 seed Princeton not only upset number 2 seed Arizona, but they also won again and are in the Sweet 16.
That's pretty
as
awesome.
one of the lowest seeds ever to make it to the Sweet 16.
Wow.
So I think we can clearly say we're rooting for Princeton.
I would root for Princeton.
I love a good underdog story. We're from Philly, you know.
I think they're close enough, right?
I mean, in terms of location, yeah. But
Yeah.
I like to see.
But in terms of underdogs,
I like
yeah.
to see, you know, whatever the lowest seed is that makes it to the Sweet 16. I kind of root for them. Like, hey, go ahead, do your
Everybody
dance.
likes a good Cinderella story.
Yeah,
You know?
you know, I guess we're if we have to pick a team to root for at this stage, we're rooting for Princeton. See if they can cause some more damage.
Absolutely.
As they go from Sweet 16 to Elite 8 to Final 4, and then the championship game in April.
I worry that we just doomed them, but we will see. I have hopes.
Yeah, you know, it's again. That's why they call it March Madness.
Hey, look, anything can happen.
That's right. So there you go. That is our sports wrap up for this week. All in all, yeah, you know, it's an interesting time.
Interesting time, very busy time with free agency and man. March Madness. We're going to have a lot to talk about the coming weeks.
Yep. As well as the Masters in April.
There you go. It's
coming up.
It's all stacking up. You got the draft coming up soon, the Masters, March Madness ending.
Yep.
Busy time.
Yep, it is actually. So we have all those things to look forward to in future episodes. But for right now, we got to take a break. In terms of future segments, we've got the entertainment entree and then the non-fortune cookie odd news coming your way. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby, Barnes & Noble, and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
If you go to Taco Bell at 3 in the morning, this is what you're going to get. Yeah,
That clip is already coming into play.
yes,
I love it.
already. So there you go.
Stop.
What happened?
The thing went on.
Well, how did that turn on? That was
I don't
weird.
know. The fart sound.
The fart sound turned Amazon on?
I think the fart sound turned on my Echo.
What the
I
hell?
don't know. It turned on.
What are you doing, Jeff Bezos? What are you into?
Basically, he's listening to fart sounds.
He's listening to our fart sounds. Oh, my God.
I changed the trigger word to fart. I got to fart at it now. I don't know what happened.
That's really awkward. You're going to have to... Excuse me.
Excuse me. How can I help you?
You may need some bowel.
Do you want me to automatically order you Pepto-Bismol? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm talking to it solely through farts now.
It actually, you fart into it.
Fart
and
once for yes and twice for no.
No. Actually, you fart into the device, and then
Yeah.
Amazon can determine what
you-
medicine you need.
Oh, right. Wow. That's next level right there. Or what you've been eating and what you want to reorder.
Oh.
I detect Cheetos. Would you like to subscribe?
Would you like a bulk order of Cheetos?
Oh, yes, please.
Cheetos ordered.
That story took a turn.
Yeah.
Cheetos ordered.
Okay. All right. There you go. The latest from Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
It's amazing technology, I tell you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're back here on the Crispy Noodle podcast. We forgot to mention one thing in the sports sampler. The Eagles also played the long con.
Yeah, they did.
And eventually ended up with Marcus Mariota after, 8 seasons? Because it was like the 2016 draft?
Yeah, it was. No, when did Chip Kelly?
I think it was 20. Oh, no, it must have been past
I think
that.
it was like 2014 or 20. It must have been 2014 or 2015. They won in Mariota.
Yeah. So this is like 8 years in the making.
For new listeners, once upon a time, the Eagles had a coach, Chip Kelly, who wanted a quarterback, Marcus Mariota, who played under him in college.
At Oregon.
And we were about to trade. We were going to sell the farm.
Yeah. He really had
we were gonna
sold the
trade
organization. Yeah.
Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
I forget who else was on the chopping block at the time. To try and trade up and get Marcus Mariota. He didn't get him, so he ended up running with Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
Because that's the next logical choice.
Yeah. Whoops.
It was a really weird time reflecting back on it.
Yeah. Nothing made sense.
No, nothing at all. But we eventually got our guy, Marcus Mariota. And
there we go. Aren't you happy? He's now the new backup quarterback.
So happy. Chip Kelly must be thrilled.
Yeah. Chip Kelly's like, can I come back?
Like almost a decade later.
Can I be a quarterback's coach? Can I come back?
Yeah, right. He got run out of the league.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So now, I think he ended up at the 49ers for a season too, didn't he?
And then he was like a commentator, but what is he's like probably running a McDonald's somewhere.
At this rate, yeah. He fell out, yeah. All right. So there you go. Enough sports. We need to move forward and need to get to the second part of our show. We talk about movies, TV, and stuff like that in the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty? Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You were the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
All right, entertainment entree time. And we're going to kick it off with the segment where Mike is going to let you personally, yes, you right there. You that's listening right now. He's going to let you know personally what you should keep an eye out for with movies, TV, and video games in Mike's This Week in Entertainment. All right, Mikey, what do you got for the people?
All right, this week in entertainment, in movies, John Wick Chapter 4 hits theaters this week. Looks like John Wick is still doing whatever John Wick does. I've never seen a John Wick movie in my life. They're supposed to be pretty good. I
saw the first one, and I thought it was pretty good. And then, it just seemed like they kept chunking second, third, fourth. I was like, whoa, I don't know.
I feel like
it's just me. It feels like they
I feel like the series came out yesterday, and they've already made 4 movies.
Right.
Am I wrong? I feel like it's super recent.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're coming out with a 4th one. It struck a chord with fans and critics alike. They're doing very well in terms of box office, and this last one has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes with an average score of 8.2 out of 10. So if you're looking for a fun action flick, go check out John Wick Chapter 4. In television, though, instead of action, we're looking to a big drama series returning. Emmy Award-winning dark dramedy Succession returns for its 4th and final season this Sunday on HBO at 9 p.m. I think Rich is excited. I am also
Yes.
excited. This is one of, hands down, the best TV shows right now.
I'm confident in saying it's the best written show on TV. Period. Like right now,
Yeah.
just nothing touches it in terms of writing and the one-liners and the twists and turns that happen. It's the best written show on TV.
Yeah, it is absolutely spectacular. I'm pretty sure it won Best Drama last
Last year. I think it won the second season as well.
Yeah.
I think the first season didn't win, if I remember correctly.
But it's just always knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
I mean, the tension between the characters, the weird dark comedy that it has, and like you said, the one-liners and the twists, and it's just and very layered, nuanced characters that you love to hate. There's not really a very lovable character there, but they all also weirdly have like somewhat of a redeeming quality if you dig deep enough. And so it creates a really interesting, nuanced, layered character drama. But Succession Season 4, it's the final season. Got to see how it ends. Check it out. That's Sundays on HBO at 9 p.m. And finally, in video games, Tchia comes to PlayStation 4, PlayStation... Tchia! I hope I'm saying that right.
That's the way you pronounce it. That's what that sounds like.
But, yeah, Chia Pets is coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC. It's actually pretty cool, though, this game. It's an open-world action exploration game that casts the player in the role of a young girl in a fictionalized version of the real-world archipelago New Caledonia. The developers wanted to embrace and honor the culture, traditions, and stories of the real-world islands, and it shines through in the activities and the world of the game, and many critics are praising those aspects. Part of the experience that is so unique is the soul jumping ability, where you can inhabit the form of any animal or inanimate object in the game and use it to solve puzzles, explore, etc. The game is free for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium subscribers, so if you have the second or third tier of PlayStation Plus, it's absolutely free. It's worth checking out. Go check it out. That's Chia, coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC this week. And that's what we're looking forward to this week in entertainment.
All right, Mikey, thank you for that segment this week in entertainment. Let's get to our main topic here. And, it's a news story, but it's going to spin out into a little bit of a topic. It is announced that Ghostbusters, for some godforsaken reason, they're going to make another Ghostbusters movie called Ghostbusters Firehouse. It has officially started production, and it's coming. It is the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, and it's coming whether you like it or not.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I mean, I love Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But this shouldn't be a franchise. It's
yeah, it's
like it shouldn't be like
it shouldn't be serialized.
They're trying to make this like a Star Wars or a Fast and Furious.
It just
Fast and Furious.
It just doesn't have.
You know.
Ghostbusters never had. And I might get flack for this. It never had the box office pull or the critical clout to become serialized the way that they want it to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's not at the same caliber of other big franchises. Maybe back in the 80s they had a shot, but
yeah, and that's another thing too.
40 years later.
That's another thing too, is like maybe if you did this in the 80s when you had the core four still alive,
right,
and they were still famous, sorry, it may sound like they're not famous.
How about
but
relevant?
Like
how about relevant?
They're at
not
the top
famous,
at the
relevant,
top of their
yeah.
game.
Right.
You know,
in their prime.
In their prime. How about that? Yeah. In their prime. Maybe then you could have spun it off into somewhat of a trilogy or a series or something like that. But this whole thing where they're trying to soft reboot it and then make the reboot kind of a franchise, I don't know. I'm disappointed in this.
Yeah. So, and that kind of spins off into the main topic here, because Ghostbusters, I think, Ghostbusters Firehouse and the series in general kind of exemplifies a big new, not really new, but a renewed shift in Hollywood towards remakes, reboots, and relaunches or soft reboots. And Ghostbusters kind of has a little bit of all three of those happening.
Yeah.
Because we have the 2016 hard reboot. We have the 2021.
That was the one. That was the one with.
That was the female-led cast.
That was bad.
And then we had
That
the
was
most
bad.
recent Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is both a sequel and a soft reboot. Maybe it's time for a full-on remake. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're planning it. But let's talk about these three. They're all kind of the same. When you look at the different categories of films, you have original films, you have adaptations, you have sequels and prequels, and then you have this unique fourth category of the rehashes. You have remakes, reboots, and what I've dubbed relaunches or soft reboots. Let's break them down. Let's talk about them and talk about whether they're a good thing, bad thing for Hollywood, good thing, bad thing for viewers, and how we feel about them. So I think we should contextualize this by defining what we mean.
Okay.
Because a lot of people use these terms interchangeably, but they're
Yeah.
not.
Nope.
So a remake, everybody's heard remake. A remake is an old trend in cinema. It's been happening for ages. This is not a new thing. A remake is a complete reshoot of the same story, characters, etc. It's sometimes in a reimagined or modernized way. Think like the Disney live-action films that have been coming out recently.
Yep.
Good example of remakes. West Side Story recently was a remake.
Yep.
A Star is Born. Planet of the
Star is Born is on it. That's the third remake.
Yeah. Planet of the Apes is a good example of another remake. They remade the first movie. Then you have reboots. A reboot is a new start to an established universe, story, or series. So it often discards the past and starts fresh with new characters, plot lines, etc. We're thinking James Bond.
Yeah.
We're thinking the Batman Nolan trilogy, right? It's a severing from the past.
Every Batman universe at this point.
Every Batman universe. Then you get the relaunch or the soft reboot. This is a little tricky.
Yeah.
It's a new story in an established universe that's that's both far enough removed that it's completely different and new, but it still has those core connections or ties to the original, right? So we're thinking Star Trek 2009. We're thinking Ghostbusters, also Star Wars, and now, of course, kind of Spider-Man, the newest Spider-Man with Tom Holland kind of exists in multiple reboots, remakes, relaunches.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of everything.
Everything gets messy.
So Ghostbusters Firehouse is a sequel to the soft reboot of Afterlife. Afterlife was a soft reboot to modernize and revive a 30-plus-year-old franchise, but it's far enough removed that it's new. And this annoys you. You don't like the idea of a soft reboot.
Right. So with these three definitions that you've come up with, I think the one that offends me the most is the soft reboot relaunch, because it's like you're trying to make part sequel, part reboot.
Yeah.
You're trying to play both sides of the fence.
Right.
You're also trying to you're also trying to make like a carbon copy of the original film while also using actors from said original film and like trying to be like, yeah, these guys are originally part of it. Yeah, this is legit. This is legit. You must like it. You must like it.
It's the whole thing. Hey, remember this?
Yeah.
Hey, remember this?
Yeah.
And you just feel like the producer's just like holding up pictures of your favorite things. And it's like, hey, remember?
Like I will say, like for example, that's my critique with The Force Awakens. I watched The Force Awakens and I'm like, I would rather watch A New Hope. Like, I don't understand why people are like thinking it's the best.
You're like, I've seen this before, and it was better.
Right. If I want to watch this story, I'm going to watch A New Hope. I'm not going to watch The Force Awakens.
That's long been your critique. I mean, from the second we came out of the theater, you're like, man, this is basically A New Hope.
It was beat by beat the same story.
Yeah.
As A New Hope. Like, even down to, we got to destroy the
Star
weapon.
Killer base.
Yeah, like come on, dude. Like
it's too close.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree that soft reboots they're tricky. And I want to give
and Ghostbusters Afterlife literally it's literally the Force Awakens of Ghostbusters, because they literally took the first, like, except for the elements of, oh, these kids are finding the objects. Okay. Like,
I don't know what that means. I've never seen it, but all right.
So these kids find Egon's equipment.
Oh, God.
As opposed to the Ghostbusters having to
they created it,
right.
but these kids
guys
just found
they just
it.
happen to find it. But everything else is the same. Instead of the Slimer, they had their own cute ghost.
Oh, really?
Instead of
I would just would have brought Slimer back.
Yeah. It's the same villain.
Oh.
It's
was it Gozer?
Even Shandor and Zool, and like it's the same exact guys, but now these are kids. They're dealing with them.
It's different because kids.
Like, come on.
Is that the pitch meeting? It's Ghostbusters,
but kids.
Different because kids.
And Paul Rudd. Everyone loves Paul Rudd.
Everyone does love Paul Rudd.
That is true.
That's true.
So
very bankable star.
I don't know. Something about this soft reboot pisses me off.
Yeah.
It's just, you're insulting my intelligence. I've seen this movie before.
That's some strong words for soft reboots. But I do agree for the most part that soft reboots present a problem. And I think it's because, and I want to give them a little bit of grace here, because they really do, and it's a problem of their own creating. I'm not trying to, give them a pass here, but they create the problem of trying to do too much. And this was my thing with Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and why I've always said that was the only way they could have done that movie. Doesn't make it right or good. It's just the only way they could have done it, because one, you have old fans from the 70s that need a connection to that universe to feel fulfilled, right? You need people like my parents who watched the movies back when they first came out. They want to see certain things. You have kids who have never seen it before that you have to reintroduce them to the whole concept of it. And you have to also, because it's part of the same world, you have to find something that ties it all together. Now, I'm not saying that they handled this well. I'm saying it's the only way they could have handled it, because they created a problem of their own design. They could have done a new story.
Why can't it be a new story?
Because old fans, new fans, you have to find a way. I mean, the studio wants to reach the broadest audience possible.
But why do you have to go to the copier machine and copy the original story from the first movie? I don't know. To me, that's ingenuous.
It's lazy.
That's lazy,
it's
and
lazy.
It's disingenuous. Excuse me. That pisses me off. Like,
yeah. No, I agree, and that's what I'm saying. It's they created the problem themselves. But because they created the problem, that's the only way that they could solve it.
Now, as a Star Wars fan, I feel like Star Wars actually created this. I feel like the problem started with Star Wars. Disney came together and found a way to create the worst kind of movie. I mean, it pisses me off.
If it makes you feel better, I think Star Trek 2009 was officially one of the first that I can remember. But it's being used.
Oh yeah, I forgot about.
It's being used.
All right, that does make me feel better.
Take
that, Star Trek.
Both sci-fi star movies, Star Trek, Star Wars. It's the same series, right, guys? No, but it is a unique problem in modern cinema. I feel like is this soft reboot, because the old adage of there's no new ideas in cinema, which I hate that adage, because that's not true. There's never been new ideas in cinema. Because there's always been adaptations. Like The Godfather was an adaptation. Everybody ignores that point.
Yeah.
So there's always been, rehashed ideas. But I feel like now the problem is that not that we're rehashing, we're not so much adapting as we're just adapting adaptations or remaking remakes, like A Star Is Born, or like soft reboots. Like, they're afraid to even take things that exist and reimagine them. They're just taking things that exist and duplicating them.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what bugs you the most.
Yes.
It's like, if they had remade Star Wars, and it's like, hey, we're just going to do a flat out remake. Like, just like, this is a New Hope 2021 version, maybe. Maybe that's less offensive than trying to pretend like it's new, but it's not. You know,
Well,
at least be honest about it.
Yeah, that would be two different contexts, because then I would say that shouldn't be like episode 7.
Right.
You know, that would be like a remake of A New Hope. So it would be like
it would just be a remake.
Yeah,
it would just be
that's fine.
It would just be a New Hope.
I mean,
it's not
fine in the sense that I guess that would be less evil.
I guess what I'm saying is it better or worse? Like, at least own up to it. Like, if you're gonna do a remake, do a remake. Don't try and sell something as new, but it's secretly the same thing.
Yeah. That's I hate that.
It's like I was at the grocery store the other day. They have Diet Coke and Coke Zero. It's the same thing.
So
the label's just different.
So let me get back to the reboot thing.
Yeah, get back to the reboot thing.
Because I love James Bond.
Right.
Here's the thing with James Bond, though. Whenever there is a new actor cast, that new actor sets like a new tone and a new kind of way that he's presenting himself to be Bond.
Right.
So, like, for example, Sean Connery was more the deadly and suave 70s kind of 60s 70s kind of man.
Right.
Roger Moore was more kind of lighthearted, the quick one-liner,
right,
kind of Bond. Timothy Dalton was trying to be a much more serious Bond and a little more violent Bond for the late 80s, because that's when you also had like Die Hard and all those action movies that came out. So he was more serious and more kind of, deadlier, for lack of a better word. Pierce Brosnan tried to mix kind of both Sean Connery and Roger Moore, that he could kind of do both. He wanted to be able to do one-liners, but also be suave as well. And then Daniel Craig was trying to be kind of, again, going back in the other way, was more serious, gritty, trying to respond to the Bourne series. So even though that's a reboot and sometimes could be a soft reboot because sometimes they tell the same Bond story or something, at least there's a different spin on it, and there's different elements that go into those films.
Right.
So that's why I'm fine with the James Bond series, and why I still remain a loyal James Bond fan, and I'll go see whoever the next James Bond is. But I'm very disappointed with The Force Awakens and now this turn with Ghostbusters.
Yeah. To your point about reboots, for me, the best example is Spider-Man. I mean, every time Spider-Man's been rebooted so many times, as has Batman. But it just goes to show you sometimes reboots do work and they're needed. I mean, the Tom Holland Spider-Man, as a Spider-Man fan, it's the best version of the character that we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Both of Peter Parker and the superhero alter ego. Hands down, the best Peter Parker and the best Spider-Man. So sometimes reboots work. And I will say sometimes soft reboots work as well. I don't want to sound like we're just trashing on it, because I do want to bring up something that I saw mentioned a few times in researching this. There's some lists that I came across of some reboots soft reboots that have worked. And one of them that kept popping up was Jurassic World. And I was really thinking about Jurassic World and comparing it to Jurassic Park. And where it succeeded was, it's not a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It's like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. But why it works as a soft reboot is because it's the same concept, right? They start the park, but this time the park opens, right? You actually have an opening, functioning park that's been in operation for years. And it's so successful that then they have to find some way to keep pushing the science. It takes that same theme of pushing the science from Jurassic Park and expands on it, in that they push it so far that they make a hybrid dinosaur that, of course, breaks out, and then you have the classic monster movie thing happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it still has those callbacks to the original series. It's still on the same island chain. They eventually go back to the same visitor center in their escape plans and survival tactics, and you still have the T-Rex and the raptors, and it's kind of hokey. It's got its action movie sequences, but it definitely sets a line in the sand where it's like, that was then and this is now. And I feel like sometimes with these soft reboots, like where they're just retreading the plot, like Star Wars or Ghostbusters, they are presenting it, like you put correctly so, in a disingenuous way.
Yep.
it's one thing to pay an homage and honor the past and have those connections. It's another thing to walk in the same exact steps as the previous one. So soft reboots can work sometimes. I wanted to put that out there, that I'm not wholly against them, but they have to be approached the right way. And just saying Ghostbusters but kids or Star Wars but this time the Stormtrooper's good.
Disney friendly characters.
Yeah, I don't think it does enough. And I actually, full disclosure, I actually like The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
But I definitely get the criticism.
Look, I'm in the minority on this because remember we did that Star Wars poll a couple years ago,
People
and
you know why they love it?
It's
It's
the same thing. It's the same thing.
Soft reboot, and Disney knew.
Yeah. We did a poll of the Star Wars movies, and despite my trying to sabotage it, it's still I think it still made it third on the list if I remember correctly.
Third's a bit high, but
I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't get it. But there you go. Just a little tidbit of information there with the news coming out about, whether you like it or not, Ghostbusters Firehouse, the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, starting production. So this is coming your way. But I don't know.
I don't know. What do you guys think about remakes, reboots, and soft reboots?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. But for right now, we got to leave the entertainment world, and we're going to go into our third and final portion of the show. It is time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing!
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Manda de bastata. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts! That'll be $4, baby! You want fries with that?
I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at meat tornado.
No, go past this. Past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders. Go to the bathroom because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Odd news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news. Here in this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that all of my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing this story for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Where are we heading to?
So, this is going to get a little interesting here.
Uh-oh.
Because I found an odd news story inadvertently, just, browsing through my, local news. I'm running through More Than the Curve. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's like a blog that reports on local Conshohocken news.
Okay.
But apparently sometimes...
Oh, no. Wait, is this odd news from Conshohocken?
It gets worse.
Oh, God.
No. Apparently they have reporters out in Plymouth meeting.
Oh, no. That's very close.
Yes.
That is alarmingly close.
Yes. And I saw the headline and I shrieked. I couldn't believe this story.
Okay.
Because
I'm very concerned.
Because this story happened on Walton Road.
Oh my God. You used to live on Walton Road.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, Rich, they're coming for you.
They're coming for me.
They're going to all your last known locations.
Because
first the Swiss cheese pervert in ours.
Because here you go. A school was locked down after a man decided to run down Walton Road in Plymouth meeting completely naked.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Wait, Rich, is that your old grade school?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So
I'm like thinking, there's only one school on Walton Road that I know of.
Yes, that's right.
They're coming
There was
for
a bit
you.
of a nastiness last night, yes? Some very extreme nastiness, yes? Yes.
Take your damn clothes off.
Wait, when did this happen? I'm always going past that intersection.
This happened last week. Plymouth Township Police Department has officially released a press release on March 15th saying that Holy Rosary Regional Catholic School, which used to be Epiphany of Our Lord School, that's my...
Oh, man.
Was placed on lockdown after it was reported that a man was found running around on Walton Road completely naked at 1 p.m.
What?
Yes.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Wait, was he running around that intersection, that 5-point intersection? It's a dangerous intersection around naked.
I hope he wasn't around the intersection. Yeah, that is a confusing intersection. There's 5 ways. It's crazy.
It's insane.
Oh my God, he did run past the school property. Dear God.
Literally, okay, so I drive that road probably multiple times a week through that intersection.
I drive that road.
We drove through there to get here.
I drive through that road to get here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to drive back through it.
Yeah. There might be a
leaving
naked
here.
man now trying to get back home.
We may get actual live odd news one of these days.
We have to go Facebook Live if that ever happens.
If we're stopped at the light and we just see a nude man run across the intersection, I mean, you realize we have to park. And
we have to go on Facebook Live right then and there, and we have to do an interview. This is an odd news in live report.
This is so weird. Odd news has gotten frighteningly close.
Yes.
Because, I mean, over the years, the more and more we're in it gets closer and closer.
Yeah. And
It's
this is
really
hitting
frightening.
This is hitting home almost literally.
Literally.
Because I
yeah.
used to live on Walton Road.
You did.
This is crazy.
You lived what? Maybe several hundred feet from that intersection?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than that?
Yeah.
Right there.
I was right there.
Oh man.
So this is pretty crazy that something
You
like
could
this
have been
happened.
playing out in the yard and then you just see a
naked man.
A ding dong run by.
You ever see a grown man naked? Yeah. So he had abandoned his vehicle.
Where?
At the intersection.
Oh
my God. Oh my God. He was at the intersection.
It is a crazy intersection.
It's so crazy. You get out of your car and you just strip.
No, I've seen some wild things happen.
Take your damn clothes off.
It's a wild intersection. People don't know how to navigate it, and they're always making super dangerously illegal turns.
That's fifth. It's that fifth option.
It is.
You
It's
can't
the
have
fifth option.
You can't have a 5-way intersection.
No.
Just nobody knows.
No, it's insanity.
It throws it off.
Yeah.
You can't do it. Anyway, luckily the man never attempted to try to enter the school building or make contact with anybody from the school.
This is 1 p.m. on what was this, a Friday?
Sometime during last week.
Oh,
when school was in session because
Yeah.
they went on lockdown.
Jeez.
Police are asking anyone who may have witnessed this incident to contact the Plymouth Township Police Department. So, yes, this literally happened where I lived and where I went to school.
I don't know how I feel about this.
I know, right? This is a weird,
really weird.
This is a weird turn of events.
It's really weird knowing that, at some point last week, I may have just missed
a naked
man running through a 5-point intersection.
Yeah, where we regularly travel.
Regularly, multiple times a week, travel.
Yeah.
That's my mind is a little I'm like, what?
Take your damn clothes off.
Yeah, it is.
I think this is officially the closest the odd news has ever gotten because we had
something just came over me and I took my clothes off.
Literally, that's the guy.
That's the guy.
That's literally what happened.
Something just came over me and I took my clothes off.
Yeah, so there you go.
I think it's the closest though because we had the classic Swiss cheese pervert in Norristown, but
Right.
Norristown's
It's
Norristown
a
is
big
big,
city.
lots of people.
It's a big suburban city.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody likes to make fun of Norristown.
No, it's
But
pretty.
it's pretty substantial.
I think I looked it up once.
It's the heart of Montgomery County.
I think I looked it up once. I think it's the 20th largest city in Pennsylvania.
Take that.
Pennsylvania's a big state, guys.
Take that.
For
Represent Norristown.
Pennsylvanians, yeah.
But
the Swiss cheese perfect, like all of Norristown, it could have been anywhere.
Yeah.
And then there was one where we had it. It was in Lansdale or Montgomery.
Well, you had
we had
one,
a few in Lansdale and Montgomeryville.
You had one that was like right across from the 309 Theater or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that was at Adult World.
I think, yes.
Yeah.
You remembered that one.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Mike remembers
Hey, man.
that one.
Hey, man, look, I'm just saying, you don't forget a place like Adult World. I've actually never set foot in there. I have no idea what it's like in there, but yeah, no, it was near Adult World. And then there was another one in Lansdale.
Yeah.
But this is like we could conceivably like go there right now in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I used to live there.
And
It's a little... And I
used
went to
go
school there.
Yeah, we're forgetting the part that's the closest. You were like...
I went to school there.
Like 20 years ago. No, like 20-some years ago. Wow, we're really old. You're sitting in that school watching a naked guy run around outside.
I guess it would be older than that. It was like 25 years because that was a grade school.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're old.
So, yeah, and I wasn't even trying to find odd news. It was on More Than the Curve.
That's scary when you're not even trying to find it and it comes to you.
Yeah.
The news is now coming to you.
They're like it's like Uber Eats.
Hand delivered.
Uber odd news.
Uber odd news. I like it. That's
I'm getting it handed to me on a silver platter.
That's convenient for you.
It's a little frightening. I want to have a buffer distance.
Yeah, right. At least a couple of blocks.
I want a couple of states.
I want
Florida.
We're gonna go back to Florida.
I want that level. The odd news should be there. It should not be where I went to school. So
that's wild.
Yeah, this is very troubling.
It's gonna put that whole intersection in a whole new light for me now. Every time I drive by it, I'm just gonna be like, where's the odd news?
Yeah,
where's it gonna come from?
It's gonna come out of nowhere. So that being a crazy development, this was the odd news story I was originally going to report on. And it comes from Superfan Shapek.
Nice.
So he gets the sausage shout out.
Sausage!
Oh, yes. All right. And in this story, Superfan Shapek wants us to talk about a recent incident at a Broadway show. This was reported on by Page 6, who reported on that during a performance of Some Like It Hot, at a performance that Hillary and Chelsea Clinton were at, it turns out that someone took a big old dump right in the middle of the aisle.
Poop again!
That's a delightful clip.
Yeah, because we've had a similar story to this, but it was all the way, in Germany or something, or Austria? It was,
God, I don't remember.
It was somewhere in Europe. Like, we're like, all right, that's fine. Like, that's all those weird people out there. That's fine. You guys handle that. This is now Broadway. It's coming stateside.
Poop again!
Poop again! What is that from?
Billy Madison.
Delightful.
Yes, very good clip.
Poop again!
Yes.
So somebody took a dump in the aisle.
Yes.
Oh, God.
In the aisle.
Wait, like during the show?
Well,
before, after? Like,
so here's the kind of messed up part. They don't know how this happened.
Well, first the person pulled down their pants. No.
So literally, according to an eyewitness, when intermission happened, the lights came up and, quote, there were just two turds in the aisle just near where Hillary and Chelsea Clinton sat.
Where were they sitting? What kind of seats did they have? I want to know if this was like poor people's seats or if this was like orchestra.
Well, I'd imagine that they get top billing.
So you're telling me that some wealthy MFer paid $600 a seat to take a dump in the aisle?
Yep.
It just goes to show you, no matter what tax bracket, there's just scum out there.
Yep.
In all shapes and forms.
I also love the fact that they specifically point out it was one for each of them. One for Hillary and one for Chelsea.
Hey man, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yes.
Wow.
So
how did they manage to do this? And then intermission, there's just poop. Is this like a weird Phantom of the Opera, like just pooping? Like
that's funny you mentioned that.
Like a ghost poop?
That's funny you mentioned that because at one point the article calls this whoever the criminal is the Phantom of the Poopera.
The Phantom of the Poopera.
And I said that person deserves a Pulitzer.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how you label a criminal, right?
Not
there.
every day do you get to write a line like that.
Yeah, the
That's
Phantom
impressive.
of the Poopera.
Yeah, because how did this person just like casually like sneak out of their seat, like drop their trousers, and just blast a dookie right there in the aisle? Like nobody notices this?
So that's the thing. This is either one of two options. Either
somebody brought poop with them.
Right. Either someone is doing this on the fly and is doing a speed poop.
That's pretty impressive.
Or someone is bagging up poop, going into the theater, and dropping the poop.
And like, oh my God. I just don't. That's just amazing.
Yes.
Poop again.
Yep.
I will never, ever get over these stories where somebody brings like a bucket of piss or a bag of poop. Like, you got to dress up for the theater. You're not showing up in sweatpants and a t-shirt, right?
I mean,
So
you got to look nice. Yeah, you got to look
gotta
presentable.
Have, like, actual slacks and like a nice top, right?
Yeah.
But like somewhere on your person, you have a baggie of human crap. And just the dichotomy of somebody be like, oh, yes, oh, my monocle. And then like also, oh, don't forget the poop bag.
Yes.
Don't forget the poop bag, Deborah.
I'm going to show Hillary what it means to be an American.
That's right. Ha.
Yes.
And then, oh, man, like where do you just stick it in your pocket? Like do you have like a little...
where do you store it?
It's a woman because they have bags.
You were so confident in that. All right.
A man would not. Would you put a bag of poop in your pocket?
Well, no, but maybe a man does the speed poop.
Okay, so here it is. If the purpose of man, it's 100% a speed poop.
Yes.
Without a doubt. I don't see. Although women have dresses, they may be able to like sneakily just
that's a good point.
Like pinch a loaf, like right. Just kind of like do like a little like twist and then.
All right, any woman in there that had the big gown that it kind of looks like they're floating.
You know what's funny? I've recently been seeing a lot of videos. I saw this on TikTok the other day. Somebody was talking about like what is it? The Palace of Versailles in France back in the day, like whenever it was built, like the 1400s or whatever. They didn't have plumbing and women would just poop like behind doors. Because they couldn't get out of their corsets and their dresses easily enough.
So you know what? They're actually being super fancy. This is actually
so it's like one of those jokes that's so bad it becomes funny again. This is like so bad that it's now posh again.
Yes, this is
like,
actually how you're supposed to go to the bathroom for super wealthy people.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
because wealthy people don't have time.
Got it.
They don't have time in their busy days, Rich. They got to do business.
Yes, this intermission's ending in 5 minutes. We got
right. Okay.
we can't wait in the line.
You gotta poop on the go.
Yeah.
For the busy businessman.
Dear God.
So now I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you said if it's a guy, it's a speed pooper. But now I'm wondering.
I have no idea. You're right. That just killed my theory.
I'm torn now. Maybe the guy. Maybe if it was a guy and he brought a bag, maybe put it in like his little like I don't know, bowler hat or whatever you wear to the Broadway show. What do you wear to a Broadway show? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And unfortunately, that's it. There's no other information. They didn't find out who it was or
They got to do DNA testing.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised, like, a level of, like, Hillary Clinton. Like, I kind of thought she would have security
no security?
detail.
Yeah, like, what if it was the security?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Security had enough of your stuff.
Your stuff. They're going to give you some stuff.
Yeah. Had enough of your stuff. So
actually, I really like the idea that it was like some fancy, like wealthy socialite woman with a big dress, just
from
like
Germany.
From Germany,
I don't know.
Just taking a quick poop in the aisle.
Yep, exactly.
Now it's got me thinking like those dresses. They could really, you could do some damage with dresses like that.
Well, there you go. The wider they are, the more sus they are.
Right. Exactly. I'm on to you.
We're on to you. Fancy women
with your big dresses, your secret poop factories. I don't know. Man.
Well, there you go. I can't believe we had another odd news story, specifically of theater pooping.
Poop again.
So there you go. And what a classic way to end. What a hoity-toity way to end this episode.
Hoity-toity, but also Odd News Classic.
Yes.
Randomly bring in poop with you and dropping it somewhere.
Yeah. So there you go. And thank you to Joe Shapek, Superfan Shapek, for sending that in our way. And hey, guess what? If you're jealous of Joe Shapek and his sausage shout out, you can do the same if you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you send us a topic that you want us to talk about on next week's episode, we'll do the same thing for you. You can get a sausage shout out, and we'll talk about your topic that you want us to talk about. So make sure you subscribe to all Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram handles of the Crispy Noodle. But most importantly, make sure you find a way to stay subscribed to our new podcast feed. There's 3 ways you can do it. On YouTube, just go to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button, and you're good to go. You can do it on Facebook itself because we have the episodes sent right to Facebook, so you can watch us on Facebook if you'd like. Or on Spotify, where you can watch the podcast on Spotify, but you can also put Spotify in the background and listen to us as an audio-only podcast, and you can take us on the go through Spotify with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So there's lots of ways for you to enjoy the Crispy Noodle podcast.
Yeah, so many ways to check out the podcast. But if you need to get in touch with us individually to share your sports entertainment or odd news stories, you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I am at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. Find us on Twitter and let us know what you want us to talk about on next week's episode. So there you go. All those wonderful ways that you can interact with us here on the Crispy Noodle. But for right now, we're going to start wrapping this episode up. This has been the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. You got anything else, Mike?
Remember, it's fancy to poop at the opera now.
Apparently it is. There you go. And the bigger the dress, go for it, ladies.
Take that one to the bank.
There you go.
I don't know. It's
what
late.
What a
It's
decree,
late, man.
What
It's
a
late.
decree. There you go. Last words from Mike. That'll do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys
later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.